Alright guys, welcome back to Urge. Moving on the Subclass Series into the next subclass in the next book, which is the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica. The Order Domain Cleric.
Boom.
So, we're also doing a giveaway, so if you want to be entered in that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll put the information here. We're going to be giving away a couple of copies of the Tasha's Cauldron of Everything book.
Comes out in November.
Yes. So when that comes out was when we'll be giving them out, obviously. Picking some winners at that point. So make sure you comment, like, subscribe down below. And,
otherwise, no book for you.
There you go. But if you're new to the channel, we're going to go through all the abilities gained in the subclass, and we're going to rate it based on its roleplay value, combat value, and overall class synergy, based on how the subclass improves on the base class abilities. So, without any further ado, we're going to jump straight into it.
Boom. So, it's Cleric. So you know what you get? Free spells. Woo. Order Domain Cleric, you get Command, Heroism, Hold Person, Zone of Truth, Mass Healing Word, Slow Compulsion, Locate Creature, Commune, and Dominate Person. Both good and bads about this list are 6 of these 10 spells you already have access to as a cleric.
Right.
The 4 you don't normally are Dominate Person, Commune, Compulsion, and
Slow.
I had to think about it for a second.
Slow.
Right. Yeah, thanks. Still, a good part about that is spells like Hold Person, which somebody in your party bets to be carrying. Still believe best level 2 spell in the game, personal opinion. It does let you not have to worry about preparing it. Because none of the spells here count towards your prepared spell list as a cleric. They're all freebies. So you get to have the fun stuff of Hold Person, Mass Healing Word, and Dominate Person especially, without having to count towards your prepared spell list for the day.
Yes.
Also, level 1, you do get bonus proficiencies. You get heavy armor proficiency, so yay, survivability. You also get the proficiency in the skill choice of Intimidation or Persuasion, which very much fits into the theme of this subclass.
Yes. Then, also at level 1, we get Voice of Authority. If you cast a spell with a spell slot of first level or higher and target an ally with the spell, the ally can use their reaction to immediately take a weapon attack against a creature of your choice that you can see. If the spell targets more than one ally, you can choose which ally makes the attack.
Yep.
So basically, you heal someone and they get to make an extra attack with the reaction.
Yep.
Right on the spot.
Bingo.
Rogues love you.
Yes, they do.
And then at level 2, we have your Channel Divinity option, which is Order's Demand. Basically, as an action, you present your holy symbol. Creatures that can see or hear you within 30 feet make a wisdom saving throw to be charmed by you until the end of your next turn, or until the charmed creature takes any damage. You can also cause any of the charmed creatures to drop what they're holding when they fail the saving throw. So, used for Channel Divinity. Not super excited about it. It works when it's good. If you've seen a bunch of enemies and they all have shields, you can be like, drop all your shields, lower your armor class for one turn.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's probably not going to have a whole lot of uses because it only lasts for the end of your
It's
next
only one
turn.
round of combat.
So, kind of is what it is there.
Yep. At level 6, you get Embodiment of the Law. If you cast a spell of the Enchantment School using a spell slot of first level or higher, the spell casting time can be changed to a bonus action if it was originally an action to start with. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And when you can use this feature a number of times equal to your Wisdom modifier per day. You get all the expended uses back on a long rest. So, Hold Person is bonus action.
Pretty good.
Seems pretty good. At level 8, you get Divine Strike. Like with a lot of other cleric domains, you get when you do hit with a weapon attack, it doesn't specify melee, so you can go, crossball build.
Everyone always mentions that. They don't have to be a melee cleric or
You
a
don't
melee
have to-
fighter or whatever.
You don't have to be.
Okay, yep.
No.
You're
Every time
right.
you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you do extra 1d8 psychic damage, which is definitely
damage
one of the
type.
2 best damage types in the game, that and force, just because they're the least resisted. Very few things resist psychic and force damage. Level 14, that extra damage scales to 2d8. So you don't get extra attack, but when you do hit with the weapon attack, it does deal extra psychic damage.
There you go.
And finally, level 17, you do get Order's Wrath. When you do your Divine Strike damage, you can then curse that creature until the start of your next turn. The next time one of your allies hits the cursed creature with an attack, they also take 2d8 extra psychic damage, and the curse ends. You only curse a creature this way once per turn. So you can't, if you had a way to get an extra attack in there multiple times or something, you could do once twice a turn. So, it's fine extra ability there at the end, but it's kind of lackluster for a level 17 ability, personal opinion.
Yeah, 8 damage for level 17 ability.
Yeah. Not super exciting.
Yeah, free damage is free damage. Here's what it is.
There's all the abilities, so we'll get right on into the scoring section, starting off with Roleplay.
Asterisk as always, guys, talking about the roleplay value. We're talking about interacting with the world around you, interacting with NPCs, avoiding combat, non-combat scenarios, basically RP mechanically outside of initiative order. So,
Got it.
when we're talking about RP, we're not talking about, class fantasy, history, background, lore, all that stuff.
How you're acting out your character backstory.
Right, that's non-mechanical. We're looking at the mechanical side of role-playing.
What's
in
the
abilities gained in the subclass.
Yes.
So, that being said, there's not really a whole lot in the RP department here. There's a few spells that you're going to get access to that you don't have to prepare, which could be useful. Like Zone of Truth, for sure. Locate Creature. Even Command, hold. Some of these things could be like niche use out of combat. Primarily used for combat, but could be used out of combat.
Yeah.
But there's some spells that you're going to gain access to that you wouldn't have to prepare otherwise, which can be good when you're just like, never know what you're going to run into. You really want to prepare RP spells sometimes because it might be a really dangerous day. So when you have those prepared all the time, it's nice.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's not really a whole lot going on. Other than maybe your Channel Divinity. But it's a charmed effect that only lasts until the end of your next turn. So like a round of combat is 6 seconds. Yep. So it's really not going to charm them for very long. But you can make them drop something. Like if someone steals something from you, you just like, charm, drop it. You know what I mean? There's stuff you could do in a niche sense, but there's not really a whole lot going on the RP side of things.
You do get your intimidation and persuasion skill choice, so one extra skill proficiency.
Yeah, you get extra proficiency as well. But one of the things I said to Alex when we were talking about this early on is, with that, those are charisma based skills,
right?
And you're probably not going to be putting much of anything into charisma as a cleric. There's not really much reason to. So even if you get proficiency with it, it's still not going to give you that much of a priority to use those. So while it is good to have those, it's not going to be as potent as if you were bard with those.
Nope.
So that being said, we decided to go with a 2 out of 5 for the RP value. Again, we're looking at the mechanics.
Yeah.
As a player, you acting out everything, that's what's going to really determine the role play.
Yep.
But on a mechanical side of things, not a whole lot that the subclass is giving you to help boost that base potential up.
Right. On the combat side of things get a little quirky, I think is a good way to describe it. Both because our scoring for this could change drastically based on your party makeup. And there is one thing in specific we're speaking of, and I'll get to that. Going by these abilities in order: bonus proficiency, heavy armor, glorious. This helps you keep a heavy, armor class. You don't have to really invest in dex if you don't want to, because you'll just have a high AC to start with. If you want to have higher dex for saving throws, by all means, go for it. You being able to give a extra friend an extra attack with starting at level 1, you can just, whenever you cast a spell that targets an ally. Rogues! Rogues!
Definitely.
Rogues. That means an extra sneak attack.
Yes. Sneak attack is once per turn.
Yes, not once per round.
Don't realize that.
Right. But of course, the rogue obviously has to have a way to trigger that sneak attack.
Correct.
But that's a given. The Channel Divinity orders demand probably the worst Channel Divinity of all the cleric subclasses. Hard opinion, just because if it was like Charm for a minute, it would definitely have uses out of combat for sure. And in combat, like Jameson said, your best use might be like make somebody drop a shield.
Yeah.
So that lowers their AC for that round.
Really do much because charmed creatures don't attack the person who charmed them. They can still attack everyone else.
Right, they just can't attack you.
It's maybe like a get out of jail card for you if you're in the middle of surrounded by people and you just want to get out of there. But you could just disengage too. So.
Yeah. Binding the Law, things also kind of get fun because you can cast enchantment spells as bonus action. So you could hold persons, the first thing I think of, obviously, dominate persons, or other things you get as bonus action.
Yeah.
While that's really good, as a cleric, you really don't have a lot of other things you could do then with your action. Spell-wise, you only cast a cantrip. Right. So it's... Or you can attack with your weapon, and of course, granted, with Divine Strike, your weapon damage does go up.
Right.
It's some extra damage, but it's nothing like to write home about or anything.
Right.
Granted, that damage does go up again to 2d8 at 14, so it makes it more efficient later on, but still, again, nothing really to write home about. And finally, at 17, if you do hit something with your Divine Strike, which you're kind of encouraged to do now, because this other ability gears off of that, basically cursing them with a debuff, so they take extra damage from the next person that hits them. Okay, again, nothing to write home about. Just because it's an extra 2d8 damage, which... Okay, so if you hit with a Divine Strike and then somebody else, you've done a total of 4d8 extra damage you wouldn't normally be able to do.
Yeah.
Well, that's
like 16 average.
Well, level 3 Fireball does more than that to multiple targets.
Right.
So you're using multiple abilities to get 48 extra damage that a level 3 spell outscales hard.
Right, but it doesn't use a spell slot. It can be used regularly.
And it can be. I just said
it's free damage.
It's not bad. It's just nothing really exciting.
Right.
But where this does create some absolute shenanigans, very specifically, and I mentioned the rogue, is the fact that bonus action, hold person. Well, if you read the rules for hold person, they're paralyzed.
Yes.
Attacks within 5 feet, automatic crit.
Right.
You go before the rogue or before that round or whatever, you bonus action, hold person, and you whack them. You get the 2d8 plus 2d8 damage. Cool. Rogue sneak attacks. Auto crits, a sneak attack.
Right.
Glorious.
Your next turn rolls around.
Your next turn rolls around, and let's just assume the guy's failed it one time. You're like, bonus action, bless the rogue, or bonus action, healing word the rogue. The rogue gets a sneak attack again.
Yeah, and then you use your action to attack.
And you use your action to attack again.
And you crit.
And then the back of the rogue's turn again, he gets to automatically crit sneak attack again.
Yeah, depending on the order of the initiative, it can be crazy.
Right, because so basically, if it's ordered right, the enemy fails basically just 2 saving throws and gets hit with 3 sneak attacks.
Yeah, you fail. Yeah,
you fail the initial, and then just his
turn.
one more turn. Yeah, he's gonna get absolutely deleted.
Yeah.
So that specifically is like the perfection of the combat. Besides that, it's a lot of decent, but nothing really exciting.
Right.
We went with a 3.5
out
of 5 possible flumps. Because
if you have a rogue that you can trigger this, it definitely would increase the score.
Yeah.
But if you have a rogue,
if you got a rogue in your party, it's going to be a 4.
Yeah, that's maybe one of those like synergy things, right?
Yeah.
But
class party makeup
definitely makes a difference because that's the one thing that's if you have certain characters that you can synergize well with, being able to trigger their like main class abilities on a regular basis can be a big deal.
Yeah.
But that is not always going to be the case, obviously. Right. So we can't really rate it based solely on one potential situation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like if other classes have ways to like knock stuff prone. So if you got a way to knock stuff prone, then you've got a lot of martial people in your class. It's like, oh, he's on his butt. We got an advantage on him. We're going to wear him out. Yeah, so that kind of stuff matters. Party makeup.
Right. So then moving on to the last section, which is the overall class synergy.
Yep.
With your clerics, I mean, your Challenge Divinity is going to be a thing, as
thing.
Always. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot with clerics to synergize with.
Nope.
You have your spell list and everything. You get some uses with the Voice of Authority and being able to let allies attack an extra time.
Yep.
But it uses a reaction. So if you use a reaction and they can't opportunity attack, or if they have abilities of their class that lets them use a reaction, like uncanny dodge.
Rogues, uncanny dodge.
So there's a
but
cost.
I think they'll forego that uncanny dodge for an extra sneak attack.
And that's the thing too is like you're really just basically you're basically just triggering an opportunity attack. Mm-hmm. Is essentially what it's doing because you have to use a reaction either way. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is.
You don't have to move away for it.
Right, but once you hit them, then they can just run away. They don't have to worry about the opportunity attack because you already used it. So there's stuff like that that it does come into play, but it does give you a little bit of synergy just on that. But again, the Channel Divinity is not super great in our opinion. No. There are some niche uses when it could be good, like if you're fighting multiple things with shields, or if someone, I don't know, if someone's like standing over a grate or something and they drop their sword down the grate. There's stuff that can happen.
super specific.
That'd be like feels bad man kind of thing, but it can happen from
time
to time.
Like,
it'd be funny.
I would totally have the guard roll a d20 to see like how bad he drops the sword if it happens to drop into a sewer grate. You're like, oh man.
So there's stuff like that it can be good, but for a charm for one round is not going to be that helpful most of the time. Just because you're not really getting... Charm is probably one of the least potent conditions, I would say.
Yes.
It doesn't really do a whole lot.
It's definitely not paralyzed or stunned or grappled, that's for sure. It helps for you,
but it doesn't help anyone else in your party. Like, I'm going to attack you, and now I'm not going to attack you, I'm going to attack your friend. You know what I mean? It's like, for one turn, what to do.
For a wizard or sorcerer, that's probably super helpul to avoid taking that damage.
Right. But that's a cleric with heavy armor. Most times we're not going to really matter that much. So we just went with a 3.5 on the synergy side for the Order Domain Cleric. Nothing crazy going on here, but there's some nice little niche uses of stuff that can maybe give you a little bit more of an oomph there. But again, nothing crazy.
And I think both of the subclasses that are in this book, as hard as it is, I think they do create at least a unique of enough flavor.
Yeah, for sure.
They definitely bring something that isn't currently there.
Right.
It gives clerics more of this authoritative, like policeman kind of feel to them.
And this is kind of one of those rare circumstances, I think, with this subclass where party composition does make a big difference.
Yeah, more than normal, for sure.
Yeah, there's a couple subclasses that, like, your party composition can really make a vast difference on some of the scores. But again, we can't really just rate something based on like one potential. We have to try to give it as a broad overview.
Yeah,
in certain circumstances, this could be significantly better. I'll just say that. Kind of all around, except for the RP. RP is really going to stay pretty stagnant, is what it is. But
find a bard.
But that's going to wrap it up for this one, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so our new videos are coming out. Also, comment down below, like the video, so you can get entered in that competition giveaway for the Tasha's book that's coming out. And I'll put it again up on the screen, some of the stuff there. But
22 new subclasses in that book. You guys didn't know that.
We're gonna try to get as many out.
We're gonna try to get like caught up before, like try to get through the rest of the series before the book and get close to it.
It'll be close by the time it comes out. But that's gonna be all for this one, guys. As always, thanks for watching.